Your perspective eludes me. I understand perfectly. I just don't share the same view. Scotty, if your love for me is genuine, you'd permit this. It's just a physical encounter. It won't impact our marriage. If anything, it might enhance it. I'm hearing this now, Amber. Does it seem like I'm improving? You're my spouse, and I envision growing old together. Why can't you be supportive and allow this? The issue is I'm no longer your sole spouse. That's absurd. No, it's not. You now have two husbands. One you wed, had kids with, shared finances and life with, and now plan to engage in intimate affairs with someone else instead of me. Your other husband is the priority for your extramarital activities. The one with whom you'll share tales of my inadequacy to justify your infidelity. The trouble with this bigamous arrangement is my disagreement with it. I don't recall marrying you and Ralph, or whoever your lover may be. That's ridiculous. You're my only husband. Tim is just a way to fulfill what you can't provide. I'll never treat you as second best. I promise. Scotty, your mindset is outdated. You'd be surprised how many of our female friends have affairs and their marriages are intact. Like Danielle, who's on to her third marriage. Do you see that you're seeking validation from a promiscuous person to justify your actions? Wonder what her advice would be. Insulting me and Danielle won't solve anything. I've decided I'm doing this. I've earned it after sacrificing my desires for years. I've been loyal, contributed equally to our family in every aspect. And now that the kids are independent, it's time I reward myself. A little affair is a small ask after all I've done. Don't threaten divorce, it'll harm you and your business, while the kids and I will manage just fine. You know, Amber, maybe you having a lover isn't such a terrible idea after all. I'll agree on one condition. Finally, you're grasping the situation. What's the condition? I'll do my best to meet it. Oh, it's quite simple. If you hadn't planned this already, kindly record your activities and provide me a copy. What? Have you become voyeuristic, wanting to witness your wife with another man? Why a video? To aid your own gratification. I want to challenge your notion that everyone does it, and it's no big deal. I'll show it to our kids. Send it to your family, friends, neighbors, and everyone linked to us. Let's see if they're as modern as you claim. I want their take on my supposed outdated views. Forget it. I'll meet my lover, and you won't get any pictures. You won't know where we'll be, so forget about it. Just accept it, and I'll come home after having my fun, and we'll carry on as usual. Scotty packed his things upstairs while Amber continued her tirade downstairs. He returned and said, "Go meet your lover. I'll gather proof of your affair, with or without your cooperation." Oh no, you won't. As he left, he thought, she'll be surprised when I show up at room 433 at the Holiday Inn Express tonight. Tim's texts revealing the location was a stroke of luck. I accidentally got hold of her phone when she was in the bathroom. Amber lightly knocked on room 433's door, cautious of anyone watching. Tim answered, clad in boxers. She entered. "You seem eager," she remarked, kissing him. "I just don't want to waste a moment." "Don't worry. This is only the beginning. I set things straight with my husband tonight. We'll have more chances." How did he react? He was upset, but he knows he has no choice. I'll be extra attentive to him for a couple of nights, and things will return to the new normal. But before anything, Scotty threatened to catch us. Let's check for cameras and mics in the room, just to be safe. They spent 15 minutes scouring the room for surveillance, but found nothing. Amber took her time undressing in front of Tim, who lay naked on the bed, his attention fixed on her. His excitement was evident, his arousal tangible. Naked now, Amber knelt and took Tim into her mouth. She noted he wasn't larger than her husband, but the forbidden aspect added an overwhelming thrill. It didn't take long for Tim to reach climax, surprising Amber. "Why didn't you warn me?" she exclaimed. "I thought you'd swallow. Isn't that what most women do now? I prefer it to be my choice. Now I've got a mess to clean before round two." She fetched towels to tidy up the bed and floor. "He better be good at oral. I plan to make an even bigger mess," she grinned. Stretching out on the bed, she told Tim to dispense with the foreplay and get to work. He readily agreed, though his technique wasn't impressive. But Amber was ready, and within minutes she was overcome with supreme satisfaction. She was ready for more. "Now, lover, fill me up." As Tim lined himself up, a loud thud echoed from their hotel room door. "What the hell was that?" they both exclaimed. Tim cautiously approached the door and peered through the peephole. "There's a man unconscious in the hallway." Amber rushed over, took a look, and gasped, "It's my husband, Scotty. How did he find us?" "Should we call 911? He looks hurt," Tim suggested. "No, wait. If we leave before he wakes up, he can't prove we were here. Maybe that'll teach him not to spy on us." "You're just going to leave him there? If he doesn't wake soon, someone will find him. He'll probably just have a massive headache to match his humiliation," Amber said as she and Tim hurriedly dressed, stepping over Scotty's body to leave. Later that night, Amber returned home, expecting Scotty to be in a cheap hotel room nursing a headache. She cherished the brief but satisfying memories with Tim, hoping for uninterrupted dreams of their next encounter. Around 2:30 a.m., persistent doorbell rings and heavy knocking startled her awake. She donned a robe and peeked through the door's peephole to find a deputy sheriff, older and visibly straining the buttons of his shirt. "Are you Amber Stephens?" "Yes, what's wrong?" "Is your husband Scott Stephens?" "Yes, what happened to him?" "I'm sorry, ma'am, he's passed away." "What? How?" Tears welled in her eyes. "Sorry for the abruptness. I hate these calls. Unfortunately, I have to ask you a few questions. He was found dead near room 433 at the Holiday Inn Express around midnight. There's an autopsy because foul play suspected." "Foul play?" "Yes. People don't usually die in a pool of their own blood voluntarily." "No, there wasn't any blood. I mean," Amber realized her mistake. "Admitting knowledge of an attack, if you didn't do it yourself." "We didn't do anything." He banged himself against the door and passed out. "By we mean you and a Tim Grace." "Yes, we were meeting in room 433. Scotty mistakenly thought. "I'm not the morality police. Grace confessed to the sexual nature of your meeting, claiming you said your husband was agreeable to it. Seems he was wrong in that assumption. Am I being arrested?" "Not yet. I wish I could for leaving your husband. But I thought he was just knocked out. I didn't see any blood. I thought it was just a bad headache." "Look, there might be a charge for not seeking help for a distressed person, but I'm not arresting you right now. Both you and Mr. Grace are persons of interest in Mr. Stephens' death. Don't leave town. Expect to be questioned once we have the autopsy results. Consider hiring an attorney, especially if it turns into a murder charge." That night, sleep eluded Amber. She tried calling Tim several times, getting his voicemail each attempt. Saturday morning, she brewed a full pot of coffee out of habit, realizing how lonely it was without Scotty. The overwhelming responsibility of managing the household, bills, insurance, and legal matters hit her. How would she cope financially as a single parent? What if they were charged with murder? They didn't harm him, but leaving without calling for help could make them look guilty. Tears flowed freely. It was nearly 9:00 a.m., 3 hours before the kids returned from their visit to their aunt and cousins. How would she explain Scotty's absence? How could she face his family, her parents, if they found out she left him? She grappled with guilt, regretting her actions for fleeting pleasure. Noon passed, and the kids hadn't returned. She suspected Scotty's parents had informed his sister, sparing her from revealing the whole truth. By 2 o'clock, still not hearing from the kids or Scotty's family, Amber called Scotty's sister Beatrice. "Hello," Beatrice answered. "It's Amber. Have you heard? You've got some nerve calling." "Yes, we know about my brother's death and your adultery. I might have forgiven that, but leaving him to die without calling for help. What kind of sick person are you?" Bea sobbed. "The kids know you left him. They don't want to come home to you. Maybe never. I'll keep them until they decide or a court says otherwise. I hope you'll be in jail, bitch." "How do you know?" "I'm married to the sheriff. Remember that from your vows." "Bea, I swear I didn't." "Hello?" The line went dead. She tried calling Tim, reaching no one. Alone and distressed, she considered suicide, finding solace in a bottle of vodka. Eating little and drinking heavily, Amber isolated herself. Monday she called in sick, feeling the weight of her actions. No one at work knew about Scotty's death. Feeling better soon. How about ever? Amber scolded herself. The doorbell rang, likely the police. Instead, a delivery man handed her a package, requesting ID. It was a dissolution of marriage petition, and a letter from Scotty. "Amber, I'm not dead. I hope you've been miserable about what you did with Tim. I saw his text on your phone. Planned to expose you, then divorce you. Scotty." She collapsed in disbelief, realizing Scotty's scheme to catch her with Tim and threaten divorce. So, turns out breaking down hotel doors isn't as easy as in movies. "Knocked myself out. No blood though. I woke, saw you left, thought you dodged embarrassment. Got a great idea after the knock. Called my brother-in-law, the retired sheriff. He arranged a friend to play a cop. Gave him a script, visited Tim with persuasion, and recorded his confession. He won't talk until the divorce is done. Sis helped, told the kids a story, and took them out. They don't know about my death or your actions. I'll tell them unless you spill everything. Not sure about playing the tape, but it's an option if they doubt us. Amber, it's time for us to discuss our separation. I want to ensure a fair division of our assets, as I've proposed. Tim's account of events has certainly raised questions about your actions and choices during our marriage. I want to make it clear that this decision isn't solely based on whether Tim's version of events aligns with the legal definition of infidelity. The trust between us has been broken, and it's undeniable that our relationship has reached a point where separation is the best course of action. I'll be honest about my motives for not immediately filing for divorce. Firstly, I sought fair negotiation terms for our separation. Secondly, I grappled with feelings of hurt and betrayal, and wanted you to understand the impact of your actions. Amber, I once loved you more than anything in this world, but your request to involve another person in our relationship was something I couldn't bear. Unfortunately, that's where we stand now. Ultimately, the goal is to move forward with fairness and dignity. Please consider signing the divorce papers to avoid prolonging our mutual suffering. Sincerely, Scotty. I adjusted the tone to be more considerate and less confrontational, while still expressing the desire for a fair separation. Epilogue. Amber carried the weight of her mistakes heavily. She signed the papers, and in the months that followed, she prioritized Scotty's time with the children, ensuring they could bond despite the circumstances. She chose honesty with her kids, though it took time for them to come to terms with her actions and rebuild their relationship. Unfortunately, Scotty struggled to find a suitable place for them to spend quality time together. Their children's relationship with their mother was never quite the same after her betrayal, despite her efforts to bridge the gap. Amber remained courteous towards Scotty, inviting him to family gatherings and embracing a semblance of togetherness, albeit tinged with the loss of what could have been. She harbored a silent hope that Scotty wouldn't form serious relationships, even welcoming his female friends during occasions. In turn, she refrained from dating or engaging with other men. On the second Christmas Eve post-divorce, amidst the exchanged presents and fleeting moments of familial unity, Amber asked Scotty to stay for a cup of coffee after the children had retired for the night. She wanted a chance to speak her truth. "Thank you for being here tonight. It meant a lot to the kids, and it meant a lot to me," Amber began. "Scotty, despite my mistakes and the pain I caused, I never stopped loving you. I want you to know that none of this was your fault, and I'm deeply sorry, even if it's too little too late. I just needed you to hear it." She finished her coffee, her words hanging in the air, hoping for some form of closure, however small. "Amber, I adored you wholeheartedly. I couldn't fathom your interest in someone else without feeling I dared. Perhaps something I did or didn't do led to this. I've spent years pondering, wondering if more affection, compliments, varied intimacy, or spontaneous gifts might have made a difference. I won't commit to another until I'm certain my love is unequivocal. I hope my future partner won't be tempted as you were. Scotty, there are wiser women than I who won't repeat my mistake. I wish you find someone bringing back the joy we lost. I still care for you, even if I claim otherwise. Amber, remarrying you is beyond me. I might grow to care again, but trust and respect can't be reinstated. I'd never trust your respect, always doubting your actions when away. That's not a foundation for marriage." Amber cried, avoiding eye contact with her ex-husband. "But this until you're dehydrated thing. You're still incredibly alluring." Amber looked up, silent as she led Scotty to their bedroom. That night, reminiscent of their passionate past, a new intimate connection was rekindled sporadically thereafter,